like spells and a little bit more magical. We wanted to keep it a little bit more grounded in science.
Now, obviously, the other thing about fear, scary game.
Yeah.
It should be, obviously, with a name like that.
So,
what is the trick to maintain tension in a game that's, 5 times longer than, say, a horror movie?
Let's have a look at the results of today's X poll. Now, earlier we asked you, what do you think of Mirror's Edge? And it turns out that the majority of you are describing the game as looking gorgeous rather than looking scary. And I'm glad we settled that because I agree.
Yeah, I agree as well. But I'm excited for the first-person gameplay. I think that's going to be a lot of fun.
Very
So
exciting.
first-person parkour? Why not?
Do you parkour in your real life?
No, like
But I bet you could.
That's the why I do. In the locker room, inappropriately, when guys are changing and blow-drying their taint.
Well, you're going to have to do it at...
That's the worst, the old guy with one leg, Anyway, there's so much more show to come.
If Morgan and Adam were here, this would be a classy program
It is
right
still
now.
classy, it's the why. We're heading into
So
battle
professional.
with Tom Clancy's first RTS game, End War. Then we're heading into a different kind of fight.
Yeah, at least Kevin researches.
Stop it, it's almost time for Madden 09. That's one of my favorite games. I love Madden. It's coming up soon, so don't go anywhere.
Remember to keep your iPod set with the latest E308 videos. Just download GeForce Special E3 Podcast to check out the X-Play feed at g4tv.com/podcast.
We'll be right here. Don't go anywhere.
Need the Con Air.
Tan and healthy. For Comic-Con 08 Live, we're taking you inside San Diego's massive pop culture phenomenon with an unprecedented 6 hours of live coverage. No one else gives you this kind of inside access to all the comics, movies, and stars.
Like who, Olivia?
Well, let me just tell you, if you just shut up.
Oh.
Samuel L. Jackson, Jamie King, Guy Ritchie, Kevin Pereira.
Yeah!
See, that's good interaction between the two.
Maybe some Keanu Reeves
can't
if
wait
we're
for a
lucky.
commercial. Don't miss GeForce Colossal Live Comic-Con 08 coverage starting next Thursday night at 7. Check out g4tv.com/Comic-Con for info and updates. Again, it's time for a break, everybody.
Somebody start running.
But we're coming right back. Yeah, get a head start. With the explosive action of End War and a colorful world of Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts.
And later, Adam and Morgan will be stabbing each other in Madden 09 Scrap.
We should try to put in the Konami code. Come on, give us something live.
I feel like Miss Universe.
Welcome back to E308 Live, presented by Wendy's. We still got tons of games and more reports from the floor.
Plus, you can look forward to some hands-on demos and face-to-face action.
In this hour, we'll check out Madden 09. We'll see how this year's big football game differs from the others and what you can look forward to on the field.
Then Tom Clancy returns to battle with End War. We'll take you inside the Ubisoft game that takes place during World War III, which, by the way, according to the game, takes place in 2011.
Plus, hold on to your hats if you're wearing one because we'll look at the long-awaited Spore. Morgan will go hands-on with the physical game. It's already a legend. Let's get right into it. Not only are Tom Clancy games taking to the skies with Hawk, but they're also exploring the combat zone RTS style with End War.
Here's Morgan to tell us so much more. Joining us for this hands-on exclusive creative director from Microsoft Game Studios, Mr. Ken Law. Thank you so much for dropping by and bringing us Banjo-Kazooie, Nuts, and Bolts. Now, I want to, you're going to be playing while I ask you some questions, but I know it's been a while since the last Banjo title came out. Now, what's it been up to? Where does this pick up from the last time?
So Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts takes place 10 years after the original Banjo-Kazooie game. The idea now, though, is that you come at the beginning of the game, and your evil nemesis is a witch named Grunty. In the original 2 games, you fought against Grunty. She was the big bad boss. She kind of set up the whole idea of where you were going and what you were doing. This game, you've been sitting around lazy for a while, falling over, no problem. Let me get going back and I'll tell you.
There you go.
So, beginning of the game, you're kind of chubby and lazy. Your character decides that he's going to go after Grunty one more time. So you're getting ready to have a big fight, and along comes this big character named Log. He's the Lord of Games.
And he's
Lord
the
of
new
Games.
character.
He's the new big boss.
Yeah.
So this character has designed every game ever made.
Let the guy speak,
So he's
Olivia.
got his place. And so he's decided that he's sick of watching Banjo and Grunty always fighting with each other. So what he's going to do is he's going to set you into his world where you and Grunty get to fight it out once and for all to determine who is the overall ruler of Spiral Mountain.
I know that this has changed
Looks
things
amazing.
quite a bit since the 64 platformer came out. So I want to ask you about the control scheme. What's that like?
Okay, so just on the gameplay in general, it's pretty much the same as it's always been. Interestingly, what Rare decided to do when they started the game was, how can we build a platformer that encompasses the power of the next generation system? And you can see the world that I'm flying around is absolutely massive.
Yeah.
If you go back into time, to the N64, when you played the original Banjo game, the worlds were big for the time, but realistically they were small enough so that you could traverse them as an individual character. With this game, what they found was the worlds they could create were so big that they needed to come up with a way to get your character to move through the world more quickly. So what they did was they started this idea of, hey, what if Banjo was driving a bunch of vehicles around?
That makes sense, because, I was talking to Adam Sessler earlier, who, by the way, said this is one of his most favorite games of all time, and he was really excited about how massive the environments and worlds really are. And as you can see, we started off and there was these vehicles, and Nuts and Bolts actually lets you customize your own vehicles, and Adam was talking about how excited he was about that as well. So how many vehicles can we make in this game?
So virtually infinite amount of vehicles. You have over 1,000 different parts that you collect during the game. That's the kind of collectability aspect. So just to jump on that for half a second, one of the things that Banjo fans from the past remember is that Banjo was one of the first true collectathon games where the goal is the game is to move through the world and collect stuff.
Yeah.
This game they decided, what if we take and make collection something that really builds on the overall player's experience? So by making the parts, the things that you collect, now I can take all these parts and I can literally build the moves for my character. Yes, there are some games out there where you can level design, and level design is a cool way to be creative.
Definitely.
This game, they took that another direction though and said, well, what if you could move design?
Yeah.
What if instead of unlocking moves for the bird in your backpack, which was the original Banjo-Kazooie, what if you could unlock new moves for your character? And to do that in the form of parts. So you move through the game, you collect all these parts, and then using the parts, you put them together and you build all kinds of crazy vehicles that you use to play the various challenges in the game. So in this case, I went over and I talked to Mumbo. He wants me to do something. He wants me to go run this little obstacle course.
So you go and create a vehicle for that?
So he gives you, there's default vehicles for every, if I can talk at the same time, excuse me, viewers. There's a default vehicle.
He gives you a vehicle.
He gives you a default vehicle for every one of the challenges in the game. And then what you find, though, as you play through it is, well, heck, this vehicle's good, but I can make it go faster maybe by throwing on some rockets, or I can make it jump higher. So this vehicle already jumps. What if I can make it jump higher by adding a few more springs, or I can make it go faster by putting a bigger engine on? This allows the users to take user creativity into the idea of a platform game.
Now I want to ask you about, which is really big for games nowadays, is will the game feature co-op or multiplayer?
Yeah, so we're obviously big fans of multiplayer at Microsoft. Most of the games that we work on are either versus co-op multiplayer, some form of thing you can do over live with your friends. So in Banjo, they've come up with an interesting idea. You don't co-op through the whole quest, but many of the challenges that are available in the game can be played multiplayer with your friends in either a cooperative or a competitive mode, so you can go up against your friends, or you can go on some of the other modes you have. I'm sitting in the water here, obviously. Other forms of races, other forms of challenges, like you can get together with 5 friends and play five-a-side soccer with vehicles. There's loot chases, there's collection quests that you can do, again, either competitively or cooperatively.
Well, that's what's so great about there's so many different worlds and environments, and so many different, obviously an infinite amount of vehicles you can create, and so much you can do with this. But I just want to thank you so much for dropping by and giving us this exclusive look at the new Banjo-Kazooie. Now, when can we expect this game to hit store shelves?
This game is coming out this fall.
Now, am I correct in saying that the original comes out on Xbox Live soon?
Yes, very good. Thank you for
When does that
catching
come
that.
out?
Yeah, so we're shipping the Xbox Live
Thank you.
Version of the original.
Thank you for being a good interviewer.
So sometime right around when we ship it.
All right, so you guys can get both at the same time. We cannot wait, but right now we're going to head back over to Kevin.
Thanks, Ron. Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. The question is, who won E3? Is it Microsoft, Sony, or Nintendo? Just head on over to G4. I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing hints of next-generation consoles pretty soon. I don't think next year, but definitely we're going to hear hints of it and rumblings following year.
Well, as developers get to know the hardware they're working on, the software will get better. So, here's, hoping for more software driven in the future.
Yeah, look, when the PlayStation first came out, everybody said, where are the games, what are they going to look like? Look, they were definitely first-gen style games. You give the developers a little time, they figure out how to program for the processors, the games start looking better. So there's no incentive for them to focus on the hardware now. The software is really just starting to reach its full potential on these systems.
Good save, Kevin, good save.
I think by next year we're going to see rumblings. I mean, Sony probably wouldn't want that. Microsoft has every reason to start kind of dropping hints about a new console. They're in the lead right now.
Do you fancy to back off? You think just back off and let them do what they're going to?
No, look, I understand why, because, now they're trying to, when these consoles were shipped and announced, they're now trying to cram all these features, like, watching the movies online, and now you can sing and dance, and there's cameras built in, there's all this stuff. So you're buying all these other peripherals and stuff. Give them another year, give them another 2 years, they'll really figure out where they want to go with the future of that kind of like all-in-one living room box full of entertainment, and then they'll start announcing it. So probably 2 years, Microsoft will announce something.
All right, we'll be here.
All right, this is E3 08 Live, presented by Wendy's. Thanks for putting down the controller to watch, guys.
We've been